Welcome to the April free SEO training, where we are going to talk all about how we create blog posts that are money making blog posts. Because just writing a blog post and not getting any results from it is an absolute waste of time. And I don't want that to happen to any of you. So, I am Rachel Lindhagen, founder and president of Etched Marketing Academy. And I am so glad to have you here with me live this morning for this month's training. I'm going to have a couple of quick polls I'm going to put up just because I want to get a better understanding of where everybody is at. So I want to start off real quick. Do you have a blog? So just yes, I have one, or not yet. I'm just really curious to know. Most of us, okay, 50-50. We've got a mix of the two. Great. What I really am going to try to figure out is what is going to be the most helpful for you as we go through the training. If you have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. And then when we get to the end of my notes portion, I'll go back through and answer any of your questions. I know it's kind of a pain because it makes you put in your name and your email. It's stupid. Unfortunately, it's just the way that the system is set up. But I will make sure and answer those questions for you. Perfect. Okay, so we've got a number of you who are blogging, some of you who don't have the blog yet. Now, those of you who are blogging, how often are you blogging? So are you doing it weekly, monthly, kind of whenever, or when you feel inspired? So what is your cadence? How often are you blogging for those of you who are blogging? If you're not blogging yet, but you're thinking you want to blog, I'm curious what your plan is. How often do you plan on blogging? So most of you are doing the monthly to every once in a while, or when you feel inspired, when you get an idea. Okay, I'm going to close that. One more for you. Right now, I'm super curious, so I can use some good examples for you. What is your business? What best describes your business? So, are you a realtor, a course creator? Do you run an e-com? Are you a service provider, or are you something else? So, let me know in there because I want to make sure that the examples and things that I give you are really helpful for you. Okay. And if you have questions, specific questions that pop up, go ahead and, like I said, put those in the chat and then I will answer them as we get to the end. Beth, I see, hoping to get to weekly, used to be daily. Daily is so hard, but man, can it have results. And Anne, I see that you are an artist. Fantastic, super fun. I'm so glad that you're all here with me this morning. I'm going to go ahead and close down the poll. We've got a bunch of answers. Great. We've got a nice mix. So I'll try to use some examples from different areas. We've got some course creators, some e-com businesses, service providers, and some others. So I'm going to try to use some examples that'll help all of you as we go through this. So I promised we'd talk about money making blog posts because blogging, has anyone ever felt like, oh, you say the word blogging and I don't want to do it because it's just so much work or it takes so much time or I do it and I get no results. And I think most of us have probably found ourselves feeling that way about blogging at some point in time because it can feel like it's overwhelming. It can take a lot of time. But I'm going to teach you some of the things that I do that speed up the process. And I'm going to also teach you how to make sure that each blog post that you write really can drive leads for you. Okay. So I want to know one more thing before we jump into this, because we're going to talk a lot about SEO and content and how they work together. So are you currently doing SEO on your website or blog? All right, got a couple not yet. Some are doing it. Great. This is so helpful because this tells me really how far I need to break down the information that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so we have a good mix. We're almost 50-50, not quite, but almost 50-50. And then one final poll, and then I promise no more polls for a while. Comfortable. Those of you who are doing SEO, or maybe you're not doing it yet, how comfortable are you? Where do you figure that you stand? Are you super new? You love it. It's your favorite marketing channel. I think I'm the only one who ever marks that on these polls. Or you're trying to figure out if you're doing it right. Okay, great. That was kind of what I expected, but I want to make sure. So you are in the right place. If you are new to SEO, you are new to content marketing, you are blogging and you're not getting leads and you're trying to figure out what to do, you're in the right place, my friend. So let's jump right in. So what we're going to talk about today is how we write a blog post that drives traffic and leads and conversions for years to come. What I want you to walk away with today is the understanding that when you supercharge, I like that word, don't you? When you supercharge your content strategy with SEO, search engine optimization, at your foundation, you get long lasting results and you get better results. So, what we're going to talk about today is using SEO, search engine optimization, plus content together to make your blog posts work better. Okay. So, as we talk about how do we find a blog post idea, how do we come up with a blog post idea that's going to drive revenue and traffic and leads and all of that for years to come? We need to look for what we call evergreen topics. Now, I'm not sure, and I don't have a poll here, but how familiar are people with evergreen? So, an evergreen topic, evergreen is a marketing term, and I've been in marketing for about 20 years. So it's one that we use regularly within marketing. It just simply means something that can work at any point in time. So it's not seasonal, it's not going to be outdated, it's not a trend. It's something that will always be relevant to your ideal customer. And the way that we really make sure that these blog posts that we create will work long term is to make sure we're choosing topics that are evergreen, topics that are going to always be applicable to our ideal customer. So, how do we figure out evergreen topics? You're going to start by brainstorming. And I want you to think about what topics you get asked constantly. What questions do you always get asked about? What are your FAQs? If somebody is going to buy from you, what information do they need before they make the purchase? What questions do they have? What do they research to make a decision? Think about your ideal customer, and I want you to think about their pain point. What is the problem that your business solves? Because that's what you're going to focus on as you're doing your brainstorm and you're trying to come up with your evergreen topic ideas. What do you solve? So for me, I've got some evergreen topics on how do I learn SEO? How do I write a great blog post? How do I market my business without ads? All kinds of things like that that can be really helpful to you, to my audience. I've worked with a couple realtors who have great evergreen blog posts on how do I get my house ready to sell? How much does it cost to buy a home for the first time? How much do I need for a down payment as a first time home buyer? Those are evergreen topics. Those are things that are always going to be applicable. For my course creators, you're going to want to think about the subject that you teach. So maybe let's use an example. Let's say that you teach cake decorating or cookie decorating. And you might want to do blogs on how to make what's the best frosting to use for cookie decorating. Do you need to use royal icing or can you use buttercream? Things like that that are going to always be questions that people have because they're going to be searching for those questions. And if you can go through this process and do it the right way, you'll have a better chance of being the one that they find. And I'm going to teach you exactly what to do as we go through this training today. So I want you to start by brainstorming evergreen topics, things that don't change. They're not trendy. They're not seasonal. They're very often your FAQs, or they're those questions that people have that they're trying to figure out where your product, service, or course is the solution. Like, do I use royal icing or buttercream if I'm decorating cookies? How do I make this floral pattern on a cake? How do I make pretty cupcakes for the holiday? Let's not do the holiday one for evergreen, but how do I make this? How do I make a cookie that looks like this? Those are all topics that could be considered to be evergreen because they're all things that could be applicable at any point in time over the course of a year. So in 365 days, these are all things that somebody could be curious about, want to know about, or ask about. So your takeaway after this training today is to brainstorm. And you can do it any way you want. You can use, I'm old school. I like legal pad. You can use paper and pen. You can use a Google Doc. You can do a Post-it party. Turn on some music, don't turn on music, do whatever works best for you. But I want you to really think about that and come up with like 10, 15, 20 ideas. If that's too hard, start with 5. But start going through your ideas, come up with them, and then see what you can find. Okay. So brainstorm as many ideas as you can. From there, or if you don't get enough during your brainstorm, then there are a couple other places that you can go that you can research that will help you with more ideas. So, Google suggested search is my favorite for several reasons. It's free and it's Google data and it's super easy to use. So, what you're going to do is go to Google and you're going to open a new browser and you're just going to start searching words that are related to your course, your product, your service, or the questions that people ask when they're trying to make a decision. So, for that first time home buyer example, let's go back to the realtor for a minute. For a first time home buyer example, we might start just by searching, how do I buy a home in, and then the city that they're in? How do I qualify for a loan in, and then that city? First time home buyer and the city. What Google is going to do is pre-populate. It's going to auto-populate the terms or the words that it thinks you might be looking for because other people are looking for these particular queries when they're searching with the words that they're using. So they're trying to auto complete it for you based on current search demand, which makes it brilliant to use as a topic research tool because Google is literally telling you this is what people are looking for. Now, there's another tool within Google, and that is the people also search. So once you find a topic idea, scroll down in that results page because it's going to tell you people also ask, and it's going to show you a bunch of related queries. Those could be other really good potential topics for you. Do you really want to focus in on what are people asking? What are people searching for? Because the only way that you're going to make money from your blog posts is if you write copy that people are searching for. And then you have to do the SEO side of it that I'll teach you at the end. So you're going to go through those two. If you still need ideas, you're still trying to find the right one, you can use a website called Answer the Public. Answer the Public by default is going to be set to UK data. So make sure if you're in the States, you switch it over to US data. You can go in and put in a keyword tied to your business, and it's going to give you all of the questions that people bring up that they ask about that term. So anything related to your business, it's going to give you the who, the how, the what, the how much, all of those. Some of those questions that show up in there are going to be perfect blog post titles, almost exactly as they are. Because when we're answering people's questions, we're giving them value. We're establishing ourselves as the expert and we're helping them. The name of that site, so we've talked about Google suggested search, Google people also search or people also ask, and then Answer the Public. Answer the Public was that third one. So you're going to want to check all 3 of those places. That's going to help you come up with your brainstorm list. I like to do a big brainstorm session and I keep a running Excel doc that has everything, every idea that I've come up with that I have not yet written about. I keep on an Excel doc and I sometimes will spread it out based on what type of content that I'm creating. I have 4 content pillars generally on my blog. So I talk about 4 different things over the course of the month. So I look for topics that relate to each of those areas. So my course creators, you may need to talk about your course and how it's a solution. You may need to talk about how to learn the subject that you teach. You may need to talk about information further up the sales funnel from your customer basic, that first basic information. How do I start to do X? Where you can then introduce your course further in those blog posts. So you want to think about what information your ideal customer needs. So we're going to brainstorm. We're going to keep that list. Now you're going to choose your topic. So you're going to go through your brainstorm list and you're going to start to narrow it down to determine what you're going to focus on. And the way that we're going to do that is to go through and do some keyword research. And I want you to be incredibly strategic here because it's the strategy step that so many bloggers miss. And it's the strategy step that makes the difference. Okay. So you're going to go through and you're going to do a little bit of keyword research at this point. So take the different topics that you're thinking about. If you got some great questions and things like that straight out of Answer the Public or Google Suggested Search, go to your favorite keyword research tool. You can use the Google Keyword Planner, you can use Moz, SEMrush, Keywords Everywhere, Ubersuggest. There's a bunch of them. It doesn't matter to me which one you use. It matters to me that you use one. I tend to recommend the Google Keyword Planner simply because it's straight from Google, it's free, and there are no limits to how many searches you can do at a time. Some of the other paid tools have a free version, but they'll only let you search maybe 2, 3, 4 words at a time, and that's going to take forever. It's really not helpful here. The paid ones, you generally need a paid account to be able to have it do much. So we're going to say Google Keyword Tool, which is in AdWords. So if you don't have a Google AdWords account, it will make you set up an AdWords account. It will make you set up an ad. You never have to run it. And you access that. You can either Google it, Google Keyword Tool, or you can get to it at ads.google.com. You'll set up your account and then you'll go in and it's under tools in there and it's the Google Keyword Tool. And you're going to want to look for keyword ideas and search volume. And what you're going to look for here of the different brainstorm ideas, which of these have more search volume and less traffic, less competition? Because we want to make sure that we're writing about a topic that somebody cares about, that our ideal customer is looking for. But we also want to make sure that it's not so highly competitive that we can't rank on page one. Because if we can't rank on page one for that topic that we're doing, we're not going to get the traffic because nobody goes to page two. 99.7% of people only ever stay on page one. So we've got to make sure that we're choosing topics where we can be on page one. The amount of search volume really doesn't matter that much. You're just going to look for the most possible with the lowest competition. Even if it's something that shows you it's got 10 or 20 or 30 searches a month, it's still a potential because if you can rank high for that, if you can rank in, let's say it's got 30 and you can rank in position one, you're going to get probably 10 searches a month, 10 visitors a month just from that one blog post. And if it's really tied to what you do and it's going to help you convert and generate a lead, if you get 10 leads a month from one blog post and you do 10 of them, and suddenly you're getting 100 leads a month from blog posts, that's over 1,000 leads a year just from your blog posts. So it doesn't have to have a ton of search volume to be a great option for you. The other thing is that often those terms that are longer, so they have less search volume, we call them long tail keywords, they're often closer to the conversion point, so they're actually better performing keywords in many instances. So don't be afraid of a keyword that doesn't have a lot of search volume. It's probably actually going to be a better result for you from a strategic standpoint and from a getting leads standpoint. When you look at those keywords that have lots of search volume, so let's say online course, you're probably not going to rank for online course because there are all sorts of other sites that do. It's the same as the realtors if they're trying to rank for like homes for sale in Phoenix. You're probably not going to rank for that term because Zillow and Realtor and Trulia and Redfin and ones like that are going to rank. But the person who's looking for homes for sale in Phoenix doesn't really know what they're looking for yet anyway, because Phoenix is like the 5th largest city in the nation. It spans 100 miles. It's separated by East Valley and West Valley and North Valley. The person looking for homes for sale in Phoenix doesn't know where they're looking yet. But the person looking for homes for sale in South Gilbert knows exactly where they're looking. The person looking for homes for sale for $500,000 in South Gilbert, that's a really good title and a good lead because that person knows their price point and their location that they're looking for. So don't be afraid of a term that has less search volume because it can work really well, especially from a conversion standpoint. Okay. So we've chosen our topic. We've done some keyword research. Now you're going to get into writing your blog post. And I do not want you to write thinking about your keyword and how many times you're using it, okay? We don't do that here. Here, we write really great content that is for our ideal customer. So you are going to focus on giving them the information that they need. You are going to train them. You're going to teach them. You're going to help them to make the decision. It will naturally use your keyword because your blog post is about your keyword. Everything you're writing about should be tied to that keyword. So there's no reason to say use your keyword 6 times, use your keyword 8 times. That's how we get bad content. We don't do that here. Okay? So you're going to write your blog post. You do want to make sure that you use your keyword in your title for your page. So your title for your blog post. You're going to want to use it in your first paragraph. It's important that you use it in your first paragraph. You're going to want to use it in your header tags. So those are the large sections that break up your content, and you want to have those. Don't create blog posts that are just big, giant paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of text because those are hard to read. And you've got to make it easier for people to read it. So break it up, leave white space, use big headers to separate your information. Use your keywords in your headers. It's going to help. I'm going to go ahead and put a note up here, put up an offer here. If you don't yet have my SEO quick start guide, go ahead and grab it right now. It's going to give you all of this information, including a checklist at the end to make sure that you've done everything you're supposed to for SEO. That way you don't have to write all of these details down. It's in there for you. So you're going to write your post, focusing completely on your customer. You're going to help them and give them the information they need. You're going to give them everything. And it allows you to position yourself as the solution. You are the solution to their problem, right? Then you're going to go back through and you're going to reread your blog post to yourself out loud. And this is where you're going to figure out if you tried to put your keyword in there too many times, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to sound like, this red hoodie is the most amazing red hoodie you've ever seen. You'll love this red hoodie. Real copy that came from a client back in my corporate days where I said, you can't use this. This is not good. You don't want them to walk away thinking, wow, that's really bad. Okay. You don't want them to realize that you're optimizing for something. You want it to just flow naturally. Now you're going to use your quick start guide and you're going to go into your blog post and you're going to make sure you do the things that Google is looking for, because Google is looking for specific things on your blog post to help it understand what it's about and who it should be shown to. Okay. So you're going to create a title tag. This is all in your quick start guide. Okay. You're going to create a title tag, the maximum of 60 characters. That does include spaces. You want to include your keyword here. If you can include a call to action term, learn, find out, discover, shop, something like that at the beginning, we do see up to a 30% increase in the click-through rates in studies. So if you can include learn, discover, find out, shop, anything like that that's a call to action term at the beginning of your title tag, that can make a difference in how many people click through and come to your website, which can make a difference in how many leads you get. Okay. Then you're going to create a meta description. A meta description will also use your keyword. It's a maximum of 160 characters, 160, including spaces. This is the next introduction to your page or your blog post. This is how you are trying to get somebody to be interested enough to click to come read the blog post in full. Okay, so you want to make sure you're using your keyword there. You're writing it in sentence format. You're providing information. You should include your business name in the title tag or the meta description or both if you can fit it in both. Then you're going to want to make sure you're including photos in your blog post. You want to make sure you're naming your photos for SEO. You can use your keyword and you should use your keyword in your photo names. So no more putting up photos that are image 798, none of that, okay? We're going to start saving our images with our keywords, and we're going to use the dash, the one that looks like the minus sign, in between each word, because Google reads those as a space. So Google understands those dashes as spaces, okay? So we're going to do that. Now, bonus, if you want to show up in Google image search, put your business name here as well. So keyword dash keyword dash business name, and use those spaces. If you're like me and your business name is several words, use those dashes in between your business name as well. This allows you to show up when people are searching your business name, like in Google image search, or they're searching different things there. It gives you more visibility, and more visibility is good because it helps us get more people to our website. Then you're going to want to make sure, so as far as how many pictures, you want to have, rule of thumb, one photo for every maybe 150 to 300 words. At very minimum, one photo for every 500 words. So you really want to break up your blog post, especially if it's a longer one. You want to break up your blog post with images that help tell the story. Now, Anne, who is an artist, you should be using images of your artwork. Or if you're talking about behind the scenes or process, you should be using images of some of the products that you use, or the behind the scenes, whatever it is that aligns with that blog post. Beth, you're in fashion, you should be using multiple pictures from a fashion standpoint. Bonnie, same thing with your maker and your paint, door hangers and stuff like that. Showcase your products, showcase how you're doing it depending on what your topic is, okay? Make sure you're showing pictures that help tell the story. Now, the next question I get is, how long should my blog post be? Realistically, the longer posts seem to perform better. So you should have a minimum of 300 words on every page, but a 300-word blog, I can't talk today, guys. A 300-word blog post doesn't really tell us much of anything. It's not going to be very helpful yet to our customer because it doesn't go very in detail. We're going to find most posts are going to be in that 500 to 1,000 word range, but we do sometimes see better performance with posts that are over 1,000 words. Now, don't create a recipe blog post for the sake of creating a recipe blog post. Nobody cares where you bought your blue bowl that you mixed this in, okay? Save yourself from doing that. Make sure you're giving value to your reader. If you are e-commerce and you sell a product, you sell the blue bowl that you're using to make this recipe, then absolutely highlight the fact that the blue bowl is one of your products and link to it. Link from your blog post to your product that you're talking about, because that's going to be part of how we get that conversion. So we have to link to it. We have to help our audience understand how to work with us. Okay. So we've used SEO as our foundation. We've done our research. We've figured out what people are looking for. We've written our blog post for our customer. We've added images into it. We've now optimized everything for Google. We've done all the stuff on that back checklist. Now we're ready to go live with our blog post. It's time to go ahead and hit publish. So you've got it there. You've got your post, your title tag, your meta description. You've saved your image file names with your keyword. You've used your keyword in your URL. You've done all of that. If you are on WordPress, you're going to want to make sure you have a plugin that's going to smoosh your images to make your image files smaller. If you're creating your images out of Canva, for the most part, they're going to come out pretty small as long as you're saving them as a JPEG. You can use a third-party tool like JPEG Mini. You want to make sure that you're using small image files that still have good visibility, that still have good images. You want to smoosh them, because oftentimes it's those big picture files, the big image files are what slows down websites, and Google doesn't like sites that load slowly. So make sure you're smooshing your images. It's going to help you, especially if you're putting multiple images in each blog post, okay? And then you're ready to go ahead and share this amazing blog post on your social media. You can share it in your email. You're going to want to repurpose it. You can share it just like it is on social media. You can make a quick video about it. If you have a YouTube channel, you can make a video that describes the information or shares information that's in the blog post, maybe shares it in a slightly different way, upload that to YouTube, go ahead and do the optimization for YouTube as well, and then embed that video that you create in your blog post, because having that video on your blog post will increase the amount of time that people spend on your site, because now they're going to read and watch the video. And when people spend more time on your site, Google takes that as a really good sign. It's one of our engagement metrics. And that's something that goes into figuring out where you rank for a given keyword. Now, how the SEO side of all of this is going to work is that when you choose a keyword where you can rank and your website starts to show up for that query, you're going to start getting more traffic. The higher you rank in Google, the more website traffic you start to get. So even being on page 1 helps. Being at the top of page 1 makes a big difference. So if you can be up there in positions 1, 2, or 3, you're going to get a lot more traffic than if you're in position 10. And then if you're on page 2, you're not going to get traffic from it. You got to keep working your way up to page 1. Now, how do we turn these blog posts into money-making blog posts? So this is the process: is find a topic people are interested in, write for them, optimize for Google, share that post on your website, your blog, your social media, your email. You need to make sure that you have conversions on your blog post. So the way we're going to make money, like we talked about, if we're e-commerce, we're going to link to our products. If you're a service-based business, you're going to encourage them to reach out to you for a free tour. Reach out to me about your issue if you have chronic pain and you maybe service some, maybe you're a therapist or a chiropractor or somebody and you help with that. You're going to want to show them where their next step is, because that's going to help you to get that conversion. If you have an opt-in that you've created and your opt-in would help them and prepare them for that next step in that journey and maybe help them to convert, offer that opt-in on your page, because they're here, they're reading your blog post, they are interested. It's now up to your website to help bring them in further and get them to connect with you and get them to convert in either as a lead or a purchase. Okay? So that's what I have for right now. I'm going to go back over to the chat and see what all the questions are. Let me know what questions you have and I'll go through these. I do teach, and I promise no big sales pitch, anything like that. But if you're interested in learning more about this, I do teach a full SEO class. I am in the process of making some changes. It's going to be a full SEO content class that's going to teach you exactly how to do all of this in the next couple of months. That's the next thing that's coming down. So if you're interested in that, you can learn some more information about the Simple SEO program now, and then you'll be the first to know when the content version is available as well. So I'm going to go back through our notes, our questions real quick. So we've got some great different mix of folks here today. Super. So Beth had a question. Do you advise evergreen topics, even though my topic is fashion and therefore trend-led and seasonal? So Beth, you're going to have a mix. Because aren't there some evergreen topics from a fashion standpoint? Yes, you're going to have more trend. You're going to have more seasonality. But you might be able to create an evergreen post now that you update once a year. So maybe you write a post on finding the perfect bridesmaid dress, or probably not bridesmaid because the bride's going to pick that. But let's talk about the dress, what to wear to a wedding. And so you could have a post that's optimized for wedding guest outfits. And then you could update it if you need. And we do update, we do make changes to our SEO over time and our content over time. So you could absolutely create evergreen that you just refresh. And you should refresh your SEO once every year or two. You want to take a look at it and do a content audit and see what's performing and what's not performing. And if you guys are interested in that, let me know and I'll do a training on how we do a content audit. It's going to be part of what I teach when I develop. It's part of what's in development for the full SEO content course. Do I recommend showing the post date on evergreen articles? Honestly, I don't show a post date on my blog. I just post them because My best performing blog posts are from 2017 and 2018. It takes a while for your blog posts to really get in there and work their way up Google. So SEO and content are not an immediate fix. It's not an immediate turn it on and get traffic tomorrow kind of thing, like ads can be if you get the targeting and everything right on ads. That's the big caveat there. But they're long term and they're long lasting. And the thing is, when you take this type approach with all of the content that you create, then every single blog post that you create is an opportunity to rank and an opportunity for Google to find you, to like you, to understand what your website is about or what your blog post is about, and to show it to people who are looking for it and to have them find you. So I don't bother with dates on blog posts at this point. Comments, it's really up to you. I personally shut them off because I was getting a lot of spam comments and it was a waste of time to go in and clean them out. So we just turned them off on my blog. If you get a lot of comments on your blog, then go ahead and leave them. But if you're not getting a lot, I wouldn't worry about it. You can always do a call to action. Like if you're more active on Insta, you could always do a call to action where, hey, have a thought or something. Do you want to do you reach out to me on Insta, send me a DM, chat over there, something like that. If you want to encourage that engagement, but you don't want to have comments on your blog post. So an example of a title tag and a meta description. So you're going to want to choose your keywords. You're going to want to think about what it is that you're focusing on. So let me cheat real quick and I'm going to pull up a blog post that I posted yesterday so I can find it. Okay. So I have a title tag here. The keyword is how do I do SEO is the keyword. So the title tag is how do I do SEO? Learn now, pipe, that straight line, the one that's above the enter key, Etched Marketing Academy. And let's see what I wrote for the meta description. The meta description, if you have a website or a blog, there's a good chance you've wondered, how do I do SEO? Find out what to do in this easy SEO guide from Etched Marketing Academy. So that's got the keyword, how do I do SEO in the title tag and the meta description both. And I've also focused on incorporating the word easy. So people like things that are easy. I've done linguistic studies for major companies for years. When I was at the agency, we did a linguistics study for almost every e-commerce client that we worked with, almost every client that we worked with. In every single study, the word easy came up, the word free came up, the word cheap came up. The word coupon generally came up for the e-commerce folks. So if there's a way, and quick, if you can highlight how your product is quick or easy or something is free, go ahead and incorporate that because people are looking for that. They're also looking for the best. While you can't claim to be the best, like I can't say I am the best at SEO because how do you figure that out? But I can give you my best SEO tips. And there I've been able to optimize for best SEO. So you want to think about things like that. And you're going to see a lot of that as you start doing some research. Get creative, come up with fun titles, come up with fun blog post ideas, go after some of those terms if you can see based on Google that they're not too competitive. So remember, you're going to go back to Google and you're going to search those terms you're thinking about using, and you're going to see who's ranking at the top of page 1. Are they really similar to you, or are they big brand name competitors? Okay. All right. I'll be here for just another second. If you have any questions, if you want to learn more about this, make sure you've got a copy of the Quick Start Guide. Join me in Simple SEO now. You'll be the first to know when the full content SEO content class is available because the Simple SEO students are going to get access to it before anyone else. And if you have questions you want to work with me, send me a note, Rachel at etchedmarketing.com. I'd love to chat with you further. Have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me.